Hey guys, what is going on? So today I got the Tudor Black Bay 58, arguably the best Black Bay from Tudor yet. So let's do an unboxing and I'll give you some thoughts. Alright, so before we begin, let's do a quick wrist check. I am wearing my Rolex Submariner ceramic note date. And I also have with me my Rolex GMT Master 2. So more on these two later. I'm gonna use these two later in the video to kind of compare the sizing against the Tudor Black Bay 58. So stepping around here, let's unbox this guy. So the outer box, taking the lid off of that. So the first thing you're gonna notice is that the 58 comes in a different type of box than some of the other prior Black Bays, at least the Black Bays that I've had. And I've had actually 4 of them. The first one being the blue ETA version, which I flipped to a black ETA version, which in hindsight I should have kept that. That only has been in production for about 6 months, and seems like used pricing has gone up slightly on that. For I think right now it's going between $3,500 to $4,000, $3,500 to $4,000. In hindsight, I probably should have kept that one, but then when the in-house version came out, I got the blue in-house version, which I did a video on. Actually, one of my first YouTube videos, I think my very first watch YouTube video on. That one admittedly was a little bit too thick. Being at over I think 14 millimeters thick, or 14 and a half millimeters thick. I subsequently sold that and traded that in for the 58. So as soon as Tudor announced the 58 in Baselworld some months ago, I subsequently sold that some months later and finally got the 58. So little bit of backstory on that. So opening the box here, you can see the watch right away. So on mine, I got mine on the NATO strap. Starting this year, for whatever reason, Tudor does not provide the watch any longer with the NATO strap free. So you basically have 3 choices when you purchase this watch. On bracelet, on leather strap, and on NATO. Obviously this watch had just came out. It is really hard to get still right now. So I decided to get it on NATO, which was somewhat available, so I can get it sooner than waiting for the bracelet version. The bracelet is on order, so something that I'm gonna get at a later date. Inside the box, you have kind of the standard stuff. So the instruction booklet, got the warranty information, and then warranty card underneath there. One of the big selling points of the 58 is its size. And as you can kind of see here, it is very well proportioned. The case size is 39 millimeters in diameter by a height of 11.9 millimeters. And although I haven't measured this personally, I have read that the lug to lug on this is 47 millimeters. So kind of in comparison with the prior 58s, the ETA and the in-house, where they all were 41 millimeters in diameter, I believe the lug to lug size for those were 50 millimeters. And the height varied from, I believe it was 13 to somewhere around 14 and a half millimeters thick. So this is substantially smaller. It wears smaller, and it is a less chunky of a watch. And going over here, as you can see on the crown, it does have the Rose logo engravement or embossment here. And then like with some of the other Black Bays, it does feature the chamfered edges along the case sides here. and has a mixture of satin finishes on the lugs and polished finishes on the sides here of the case. And now looking at the case back, so you can, it's kind of hard to see, but obviously with the NATO strap blocking it, but you can kind of get idea, you know, typical Tudor / Rolex case back. All right, so talking about the bezel now, you'll notice that the bezel is a matte black aluminum bezel, 60 click. It has rose gold numbers all around, plus the red triangle at 12 o'clock. So I would have to say that the bezel action is really good, really smooth and just sturdy. So hopefully this will come out in the video. I'm not sure if it will, but when you turn it, you can kind of hear that click, a nice strong clicking noise. So very smooth, very sturdy. And back at 12 o'clock. All right, now looking at the dial, doing a kind of a close-up here, you're gonna notice that it is a matte black gilt dial with some rose gold indexes here, snowflake hands. You'll notice, although right now I think the hour marker is obstructing it, so apologies for that, but you'll notice that it does have the shield logo, not the rose logo on the dial. So one thing I wish that they did was kind of make everything kind of consistent. I would have actually loved to see the rose logo back on this particular model. That way it's all consistent with the rose logo on the crown itself. But they went with a shield logo here. So powering the 58 is an in-house movement. It's the first of a new generation of in-house movements called the MT5402, which is COSC certified. Power reserve is good for about 70 hours. I think that this movement will be in other watches that you're gonna see probably starting in next Baselworld. I wouldn't be shocked if Tudor decides to expand the 58 into different colors such as blue and red in the future, and also expand it in other Black Bay variations. I wouldn't be surprised to see eventually a GMT version of this watch, although I don't think that is going to happen anytime soon since they just released a Black Bay GMT, but maybe 2-3 years time wouldn't surprise me, and wouldn't surprise me either if they put this movement in other models. So I would be actually very happy to see this movement in, say, a Mark II release of the Ranger, and reduce the size of the Ranger to, say, you know, 37 millimeters. That would be just a very appealing watch, as well as putting this movement in a new generation of the Pelagos, which is another very appealing watch. So I think the most obvious question with the 58 is, how does it wear? So here's the 58 on my wrist. My wrist is 6.75 inches. For those of you that are new to my videos, so you can kind of get a sense of how it kind of fits on my wrist. So I do have to say right away, again, you know, having 3 prior Black Bays and this being my 4th, right away when you put it on, it does, you will notice that it is smaller in size and does feel lighter. And the strap, as I mentioned, is the Tudor NATO strap, black NATO with the gold, maybe rose gold accent line running down the middle of it, which is pretty cool. The hardware itself on the NATO is stainless steel, and pretty nice compared to the typical hardware that you'll see on the $10 NATO straps. Now the next most obvious question, and probably most frequently asked question, is how does it compare to the sub? So I just want to prefix this by saying that my sub is the Submariner ceramic. The reference is 114060, not the prior generation 5-digit subs, or even the 4-digit subs. Personally, I think it compares better to a 4 or 5-digit sub. Doesn't compare as good to the 6-digit sub, and I will show you why right now. Okay, so here's both the Black Bay 58 and my sub. So again, my sub is the ceramic no date version. You could tell right away that it is a little bit smaller, especially I think the difference is also enhanced by the fact that the 58 is on a NATO versus the sub being on a bracelet. And I'm sorry, I just didn't have a choice in the matter here, so I'll probably update the comparison when I receive the bracelet for the Black Bay. But anyhow, this is kind of to give you guys an idea of how the two match up and look against each other. So, not a deep comparison by any means, but just a size comparison. So obviously with the Submariner, you're going to have the maxi case with the wider lugs, which a lot has been talked about there. So I'm not going to really go into it. I personally love the look of the new Sub C. I know that it's not for everyone. A lot of people love the 5-digit version over this. But I think the Submariner is a very modern industrial look versus the Black Bay, which is a little bit more casual and fun, especially on the NATO. As for height comparison, let me just do this. Trying not to drop either of the watches, which would not be good, but you can kind of tell height-wise, this is how they kind of compare against each other. I believe the sub is, when I remember, 12.5 millimeters in height versus the 11.9 millimeters of the Black Bay 58. And again, lug to lug on the Black Bay 58, from what I read, it's 47. From what I understand on the sub is 48. And 39 millimeters on the Black Bay in diameter compared to 40 on the sub. Now with 40 on the sub, obviously with the maxi case, maxi dial, maxi everything, it does wear bigger than a typical 40. I think it wears closer to a 40 and a half or even a 41. And I have here my GMT, my 5-digit GMT reference 16710 with the Pepsi bezel. I think that the 58 actually, in terms of size and proportions, matches up better, probably compares better against my GMT. So I just wanted to throw that in there so you guys can kind of see the comparison side by side in terms of height. Again, trying hard not to drop it while looking at this through the camera here, so you can kind of get a sense of the height here. So I don't have the exact height in millimeters for the GMT. I believe it maybe 11.5, 11ish, and versus the height of 11.9 of the 58. So there you have it. So overall, I really think that the Black Bay 58 is one of Tudor's best releases to date. I do think also that another great release this year was the Black Bay GMT. So I think them both are probably the best two Black Bays to date. Really love them. One of my friends has the GMT Black Bay, and it's just a great watch. And with the 58, I think that's again another great release as well. All right, guys, so that is all I got for you today. It is almost 1 o'clock, which means that it's almost time for the 49ers versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers, that is really weird. It should be the San Diego Chargers. They should have stayed in San Diego. Anyways, with Jimmy G out for the season, I don't know how well they're gonna do this game or really for the rest of the season, but I'm gonna still be a loyal fan and cheer them on. So I'm gonna go start watching that game. I'll edit this video and post it up hopefully in a few hours, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please feel free to comment, ask me anything, and I'll answer. And like the video and subscribe. I'll check you out in the next one. See ya.